And we're back with more Shacknews Awards 2023. The fun don't stop, except if you're in this nomination category. If you've been nominated for this category, the fun might stop pretty soon. And that's why we made it up. It's called the Quietest Lobby of the Year. And we have nominated 6 games. The category is not meant to be mean. These are games that we like, that we wish more people were playing.
Mhm.
So that's the they were also released this year. Games released this year that we liked, or some of us liked, that we wish more people were playing. So let's get this started. First nomination is Wild Hearts, which was like kind of a Monster Hunter like.
Not kind of,
Next,
it definitely was. That
okay.
thing is. Oh boy, I loved that game. I love that game so much. It was like the one of the only things I was playing earlier this year for a while until Resident Evil 4 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I like Monster Hunter games in general, but there are like things that some of them get right and things that some of them get wrong. I felt that Wild Hearts actually added cool stuff to the formula with the gadgets that you could take in, like that you get these magic gadgets that you can just spawn at any time on the map, and they range between stuff that you can employ in combat, like putting 3 springs together to make a giant mallet to bonk a monster on the head, or just like camps and radar devices and
Did they just
consistent
no.
in your version of the world. Oh, did I get lost?
You got cut off.
That's so excited. You got
So
cut
yeah,
off.
exactly. Yeah, it was just there was too much excitement for the bandwidth to handle.
But like the separation between like combat gadgets and the stuff that you could leave permanently in your instance of the world. Like you could build full on campsites that you could then fast travel to and get to faster to like chase your hunts faster and make them easier, or craft in the field. I just I I really appreciate how hard they tried to take that formula and run something interesting with it.
I agree with what you're saying about the speed. Like the gameplay loop of Wild Hearts is way better than most Monster Hunter games. And like you said, it rewards you with making it even more efficient over time. So it just felt like what would have been a 2-hour hunt is like 30 minutes in Wild Hearts. And like it's just I think more easily digestible than most Monster Hunter games. And like it's not that I dislike Monster Hunter games, but it's like if you've ever put 300 hours in a Monster Hunter game, you like don't want to do that again for a little bit. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way with Wild Hearts. I was like, this is fun. The character creator was pretty fun, and yeah, I had a good time playing with my friends in it. And it's a great game to play with friends, which kind of goes back to why it's been nominated for this category. Kind of need
I
people to
think
play it.
I think one of the neatest things about it with those gadgets is that you can only equip 4 types of gadgets at a time. And so some of it is like you create one that makes a healing mist that can heal your whole party, or one that can create like a chain trap that will hold a monster down. And since you only are limited to 4 gadgets, not everybody can make every combination. So it really works better when you have more players because you have more gadgets that can come into play.
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's get through some of these other nominations. Yeah, Crash Team Rumble. That
This one
was
made me sad. I love. First of all, when I heard the concept for Crash Team Rumble, I'm like, "What are you guys doing? Like, this is such a weird idea and such a weird usage of Crash Bandicoot." And then I played it. My God, this game is fun.
Yep.
4v4. Everybody's trying to collect one fruit for their team. The maps all have different gimmicks. Everybody has a different role to play on the team. It's fun. It's competitive. It's cooperative. The flow of every game is just a lot of fun. It uses all of the classic Crash Bandicoot mechanics and platforming. There's a lot of Crash platforming where you wouldn't necessarily expect it. And we've played this game on staff a few times for big team building, and we've had a blast every time. I love the hell out of this game, and within like the first couple of weeks, I was already getting bots. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Which, first of all, I mean, I guess it's going to happen when you only release on PlayStation and Xbox. You don't have the PC. You don't have the PC base, and also you released in June. You got cannibalized by a lot of other games, including Street Fighter, Diablo, and everything else that came out that month.
Yeah, this is also a year that's just stacked with releases, so a lot of these nominees in this category just kind of got overlooked, or they came and they went, in the streaming culture that we have right now, like games are hot for what, 2 days and then they're gone. So yeah, I think Crash Team Rumble, unfortunate situation it finds itself in, but it's actually a very good, fun multiplayer game.
Toys for Bob continues to show how much they love that franchise, and they've done such a great job with it. And this is probably the first time that they've tried something really different with it. And I thought they nailed it. I thought that this is a great game if you haven't tried it. The other thing is, like, they made it like a premium type of game, and they're still adding season pass models, and that's like a turnoff for a lot of people, understandably so. But if you can get it for cheap during the holidays, I would pick this up, and I would. Even if you're playing against bots, it's still fun.
I mean, just to kind of capitalize on what Ozzy's already said, like they've made like a MOBA-esque platforming multiplayer game, which is really interesting considering like League of Legends' those games are like 2D maps with like very little elevation. It's just a flat map. But like this game does that, does all these things so well. But it's just it's in like Ozzy, you said, Don, we talk about it all the time. There's just too much. There's too much out. There's just too much out to commit to a game that's a live service game that takes time to learn and master the nuances of when to go where, when to pick up this item, when to help your team, when to go solo, and it's so hard.
How to constitute your team, because we all tried to go Dingo Dial. Remember that, TJ? And it didn't pan out for us so well.
I remember that clip. Never go full Dingo Dial.
You put his balls in his face.
And speaking of Dingo Dial, like that roster of characters is so rich and fun, and I really enjoyed what they did with that.
They have like all the Crash music in there too, from like the library of like Crash games.
Yes,
like,
you can unlock Crash tracks.
It's just like you said, like it deserves definitely nomination because it was a quiet release, because it came out against these behemoths of games that everyone plays.
This category really highlights just how tough it is to have success with a live service game. You can make a perfect game. You can make a very fun game. You can add crossplay. You can do all these things. You can maybe try to monetize it right. But like, if the players don't show up and they don't stick around, you're not going to be around for long. And I just think that, I'm not saying that the developers are thinking this, but the companies and the publishers that are greenlighting these games, they're looking at Fortnite and Rocket League and these successful live service games as the model. But those are really the exception to the rule more than they are the model. Like, I think that there's a lot of games that are competent that ship every year that have a live service model, but without a player base, you're kind of dead in the water. And I think at the core is crossplay, and to what you said, Ozzy, releasing on PC is super important also.
We saw with Rumbleverse that even if you have that player base, you're not necessarily guaranteed a shelf life at all.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. But yeah, next up, another game that once again, it's a game that we think is very good, that we would like to see more people playing, is Deceive Incorporated. I don't know who would like to jump on this. Donovan, you have something to say?
Yeah, I can talk about Deceiving because I had a lot of fun with this game. We actually did a dev stream with some of the folks at Sweet Bandit Studios. It was published by Tripwire. It's just another one of those games where like it's a fun, original multiplayer experience. You've got like a spy versus spy thing going on. You're disguising yourself. You're deploying gadgets, working against like a shared objective. They create so many tense moments in gameplay where you're walking past somebody and like, oh shit, was that dude a spy? Did they know I was a spy? You're constantly looking over your shoulder. Is the end game scenarios are always super chaotic, but again, it's just like one of those games that just suffers from probably not being free to play. I think it's like $40, which is like a tough barrier to entry now for a lot of people when the biggest games are free to play. And then also just trying to get people's attention long term on a new multiplayer game in 2023 is ultra hard mode. So it's kind of struggled to find that larger audience, but it's a damn fun game.
I always felt like with the success of Among Us that this game could find an audience, because like that style of game is so social. right? And like it's
Mhm.
really fun to like play that with a group of friends. And I feel like Deceive Inc. is definitely like that. But once again, it just shows you like you said, $40 is a lot of money for a game.
But I think the better comparison to this than Among Us is it's Hitman.
Mhm.
It's basically like multiplayer Hitman, where you're
Yeah.
trying not to expose yourself. It's a lot of fun when everybody's playing the right way, because I've been in a few games where everybody's just fucking guns blazing. And sorry, not trying to get us demonetized or anything, but like some people will go on guns blazing, and at that point, it's not much of a game. But
Yeah.
when everybody's
Mhm.
playing the right way, there's nothing like it out there. And I really
Mhm.
liked what
Yeah.
they tried to do.
Would this
And
game
they've
have done better if they actually branded it as Spy versus Spy?
maybe I was thinking
Uh,
earlier if this game was attached to an IP, it might have
Yeah.
had a better chance out there, even if it was just like 007 Inc. or something, you know?
Yeah.
not
Because this is
necessarily
just an
spy versus
original
spy, because
concept.
Yeah.
how many people other than olds know what spy versus spy is?
Fine.
Cyber Spy is old.
Fine. It's old. But it's still an IP. It's still like something. And
Mad Magazine, what's that?
David mentioned in a past category like nostalgia's a drug, so you could have maybe gotten some people into this that you I'm just saying more people know Spy versus Spy than Deceiving as a brand. That's all I'm saying. And
Fair
like
enough.
it really when I saw the game, like for the first time when I saw a trailer, I instantly, because I'm old, thought Spy versus Spy the game. And that's just kind of cool. But yeah, like
Mhm.
it's a great game. It's got awesome mechanics. It's very fun to play multiplayer, but unfortunately, it really hasn't found a player base of any size, which is why it is being nominated for Quietest Lobby. Next up is a game that, man, Sam, boy, did you want this to be better than it was?
Ah,
Payday
man.
3.
Yeah. I preface what I say here by understanding and saying I know the game did not launch well. I'm aware it's not in a good spot and the developers are trying to fix it. With that caveat applied to what I'm about to say, I still think it is a fun game to play with a group of people. If you can get 3 other players with you, there is little else that compares to the intensity of planning and executing a heist, either perfectly stealthing it, walking around cameras and like managing, your hostages and taking down, security guards, or going in guns blazing. And unfortunately, it has just not seen the same attachment rate that Payday 2 saw all those years ago. In fact,
Well,
Steam chart seems to show that the 24-hour peak in Payday 3 right now was 1,000 players. In Payday 2, it's 35,000.
well,
So
there's a structural reason for that though. The Payday 3 requires you to be online all the time, right? And I
Yeah.
think that
Yep.
that
It-
decision led to a lot of problems, and then they made you set up like a account also. That's not
yeah,
as
I mean, yeah,
people have to do that for games. I get
yeah.
that, but the
It's just
always
weird that
online
there's that.
component.
Exactly. You have to go through this online lobby system before getting into a game, even if you're playing solo, even if you're playing with someone else in the same room as you on 2 different systems, you have to be funneled through this matchmaking system,
Yep.
even if you're not going to be using it. And that just really hammers home the fact that I wish it was more popular. I wish that they could have done something a little bit different here, because it's got a heart
Yeah.
of gold. It's still so enjoyable to play.
Hmm. No, I think it's a
That's a
perfect
big
nomination.
It's a
Sorry,
big
go ahead,
Payday
Benny.
fan. I really was looking forward to this one, and I saw that this was going to be an issue when they made things the way they did with the always online options there. I mean, you know your audience, you know your player base, and the amount of people that run these missions and stuff like that without having to connect in that way, it was going to turn sour for a lot of people on that end. Like, I agree with Sam. The actual gameplay
Yep.
of a group of friends is great. It's a lot of fun to get in there and get those heists going and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people are looking forward to Payday kind of moving back in there. There's
Yeah.
not really a ton of games doing what they do in any way, shape, or form besides some like GTA heist or something.
Yeah, there's really
Um,
no other heisting games out there. I mean, I know you got like GTFO, which is kind of heisting, but there's nothing else within the sphere that's sort of competing with it. And yeah, if
There's
you're
no
a solo
first-person
player,
game like it. There's
No.
Yeah,
no
no.
FPS game like it. or like the franchise. And
There's the type of mission types, the classes you can choose from as well, and
If you're a
the
solo
fleshing
player
out.
and you want to play with literally anybody, there's just not enough people in there to actually get a game together.
Mhm.
It's just
and that's
super
that's why
unfortunate.
it's in this category, man. Like I feel bad for games that are in this category, but like as I said at the beginning of this video, we want more people to play these games. So despite the problems that Payday 3 launched with, especially, we definitely want more people to give it a shot. Maybe this game gets on sale this coming week or two. Maybe you pick it
Payday
up.
2's been
But
around forever, so I mean,
yeah,
this is the start of this game here for Payday 3. I mean, we've spoken on some of the other games before, like Battlefield and stuff
yeah.
like that, have made the turnaround. This game's only been out a few months, not
So
even.
maybe they can turn the ship around. That would be great. A game that was nominated for Best Sports Game of the Year here at the Shacknews Awards is Wildcard Football, but it is also in our quietest lobby because more people are playing Madden, right, Ozzy?
Stop playing Madden. Stop doing that.
Yeah. Stop playing Madden. Give Wildcard Football a shot. Luckily, you can play it locally, with a friend or whatever. But
And
yeah, the
ideally, it's
online.
better to play locally. I mean,
Mhm.
I'd rather play with a friend. Like it's got, while it tries to be blitz and doesn't quite hit those heights, it does have that blitz kind of feeling where you can just bring a friend over and you can just play 1v1, and it's a lot of fun that way. So yeah, it'd be nice to be able to play with more people online, but you can't beat the Madden machine, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like they didn't even give out. I don't know how many review keys of Madden went out, but the game's still going to be one of the top 5 sellers of the year. It doesn't matter at this point. It's just it's a machine. And Wildcard Football is not that. It's a smaller studio that made that, and they took a chance. And yeah, all of these games are all games that we enjoyed, except for this last one. No, I'm sorry. Exoprimal is being nominated for Quietest Lobby. And when we first saw this trailer, we're like, "Oh boy, big team building this, and we're gonna play this." And then when it
No, but here's
actually,
the thing, though. You guys did do team building with it, and it was great.
yeah,
And that's part of the reason why we want to see it do better. The
yeah,
problem with Exoprimal and I guess I won't really get into it in any other category, so I might as well just say it now. It takes way too long to get anywhere with it. Like, you shouldn't have to say about a game, it gets really good once you hit the 10-hour mark or the 20-hour mark. No, like why are you taking that long to get anywhere with the story? Like, stop that. Like, just let people like get to the point faster, Like, I don't want to have to play the same session over and over and over and over again. And that was the main problem that I had when I reviewed this game, was that it felt way too repetitive. And like and by the time I was ready to give up on it and be like, okay, I guess this is what it is, it finally took a turn. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then my second thought was, why did it take you so long to get here? So
yep,
that's my piece on Exoprimal.
yeah.
Dino
And like you
Crisis
said,
died
this
for
is
that game.
No, it didn't. Dino Crisis lives.
I hope so.
We're still gonna. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Actually, you're getting gavelled again.
Oh, no, out of
You're
order.
overruled. Dino Crisis is alive. Dino Crisis is not guilty of any of
And
this.
it's coming. It's coming next 2025. They're gonna announce it. You'll see. You'll all see.
After they remake RE6, they'll get right on it.
Don't put that in the
No,
universe, please.
I do appreciate that the game has a dinosaur weather report. I will throw that out. And I do think it's kind of charming in some places. But yeah, Ozzy, your point, especially like that kind of game, you cannot 10 hours before you really get going. No, not in a multiplayer dinosaur shoot 'em up game. That
Live
does not-
service.
Yeah,
It's live service on top of everything.
that's the other thing. Like, yeah, I think this category really highlights just how hard it is to make a live service game, and some of the pitfalls that people making live service games can run into. But yeah, like I said, every single one of these games we wish more people were playing, even Exoprimal. But there's definitely reasons why people aren't playing Exoprimal, and that's another one that like it's a live service game, but it's not free to play, right? What
No,
it
it is the full price game.
Yeah.
Premium.
Yeah, so it's a premium game, and yeah. Are we ready to vote? I think we're ready to vote. Does anyone else have anything to say about any of these nominees? No? Okay. I'm gonna start with Steve. What you got here?
I'm gonna go Crash Team Rumble.
Okay. Sam.
I am going to have to go with Payday 3.
Okay. Bill.
Deceive Inc.
Okay. So we have a three-way tie right now. Ozzy.
Crash Team Rumble.
Okay. TJ.
Staying with Wild Hearts.
Okay. Greg.
Crash Team Rumble.
I'm gonna hold on my vote. Donovan.
Deceive Inc.
It's getting
Okay.
tight.
David.
Going Payday 3. I love 2, and I want to see 3 really pick up momentum.
Okay. Denny.
I'm also going with Payday 3. I think there's potential there if they can fix the early day issues. Have a potential for a big one.
Huh.
Come
Your
on,
vote
Asif.
matters,
Come on,
Asif.
Asif. Come on, mate. We know. Come on.
Man.
Robin Banks, mate.
Also,
There's
don't let them steal this category. That would be the heist of the century.
Yeah, we need 4 for our squad, mate. Come on. They've already
I was
got their
there.
team loaded.
I was
Making a
there.
mastermind.
I was there
Mhm.
at the Big Team Battle stream on launch day of Payday 3 when we gave up and we played Halo Infinite instead.
They made you play Halo Infinite, Asif.
I had it installed.
Mhm.
I had it installed, ready to go, and updated. I don't know. Payday 3 made some decisions with its game design that led to where it is. Whereas some of these other nominees, I don't think did anything to deserve where they are.
That's a good point.
I really like Wild Hearts. Like, I think they already announced that it's shuttering, right? Or like it's gonna sunset.
There's not gonna be any new more content.
That sucks. Because I really, really liked that game. Like that's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel similarly about Deceive Inc. I think it's a great game. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. Damn. This is tough.
If you go
So
to
is it-
Deceive Inc., you could force a 3-way tiebreaker with TJ.
I know, which is like gonna be messy. And I don't really want to do that, but
Just like Wild Hearts.
You have the power.
I mean, for Wild Hearts to shut down like any future content, it hasn't even been a year.
Mhm.
So like, if it was aiming for Monster Hunter type of energy, that's kind of.
It didn't get it.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing. With Payday 3 is going to try and turn this around, whereas with some of these others, like, this is it.
Because they
That's
have
why I
that
kinda
data that
wanna-
we can't see.
Chaos here.
I think I'm gonna vote for Deceive Inc. I'm sorry.
Chaos.
But that means we
You
have a
a tie.
revote. That means we have a revote, right? Is it a 3-way tie?
A 3-way tie.
It's Crash Team Rumble, Deceive Inc., and Payday 3, right? That are all now. Those are the only options now for this new vote. We're revoting right now.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start over. We're gonna go back to Steve. Steve, Payday 3, Deceive Inc., or Crash Team Rumble?
I think I'm gonna stick with Crash Team.
Okay. Sam, you're sticking with Payday?
Yep, Payday 3.
Okay. Bill.
Deceive Inc.
Okay. I'll see.
Crash Team Rumble.
TJ.
It's Deceive Inc.
Okay.
I love
So
that
Deceive
game.
Inc.
If
So-
I didn't have Wild Hearts in this race, it would have been Deceive Inc. all along.
So right now, is it 2 for Crash, 2 for Deceive Inc., 1 for Payday?
I think TJ just broke our 3-way tie.
Okay. Greg.
Crash Team Rumble.
Okay. I'm gonna hold my.
Oh, how many of those
I'm
do you
sticking
get?
with Deceive Inc.
So that's 3 for Deceive Inc. right now.
Yeah.
David, you
Payday.
sticking with Payday? Denny, are you sticking with Payday?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 3 for Payday. That's Sam, David, and Denny. Sorry, Steve. Who did you vote for?
Crash team.
It's Ozzy
It-
and Steve for Crash,
And Greg.
and Greg.
And Greg.
And then Deceive Inc. is Donovan, TJ, and Bill. Is that
Yes.
right?
It's
So-
it's a three-way tie.
It's a 3-way tie right now. Each of them have 3 votes, and I am the deciding vote now.
Yeah.
Now you're the deciding vote.
Yeah.
I am the decider.
And Payday 3 is a 4-player game. Just want to put that out there.
I know. But it's also a game that
He's going to
It
be
made its
getting
bed,
continued
Sam.
online
It
support.
It's a
made its
game that
bed,
made you
Sam.
play
It made
I
Halo.
know.
its bed.
It's made its mess, and it's we're forcing it to fix it.
I don't want to fully disclose why I have strong feelings about this specific category and why I'm not going to vote for Payday 3 here. But yeah, I think Deceive Inc. Yeah, it gets my vote. I genuinely like the game. I think it's unique, and I think it really deserves to have a larger audience. And while Payday 3 is undeniably the biggest failure of this group, it is. It is. Based on Payday 2's success, Payday 3 is a failure. It's not a failure because the players don't want to play it. We don't want to play it for a good reason. And they deserve what they get.
Yeah.
But Deceive Inc., like, there's nothing
more to the
fundamentally
spirit of
wrong
this
with the
category.
game. So I'm voting for Deceive Inc. And Deceive Inc., it's not the best thing to win, for being honest. This is a strange category to win. But like I said, we want more people to be playing all of these games. And that includes Deceive Inc., which is our Shacknews Award for the quietest lobby of 2023. Just barely.
Booyah! And voila, mission complete.